So for our Tech 10 this in January here, we have Winter Field Day. It's an event coming up, and Orion, the things have changed this year. Give us a rundown of what's going on and how people can participate.
All right, Greg. So Winter Field Day is coming up at the end of this month. It's not to be confused with ARRL Field Day in June. This one happens in January. It's very similar to the ARRL Field Day, but it's slightly different. So you have to pay a little attention. Now, the main impetus for Winter Field Day is to foster ham camaraderie, and it has an emergency communications focus. And they say, you know what? A disaster isn't always going to happen when it's nice and sunny and warm. It could be wet, cold, and miserable. So we're going to work on working in winter operations. It's a great opportunity for you to get out and practice your operational skills. It's open to all licensed hams. And the big point of this is to go out and have some fun. Quick piece of housekeeping. I put these slides in PDF into the chat. So if you wanted to follow along or take notes or whatever you want to do with them, they are in the chat, and eventually we'll post them up on the website. So when is Field Day? Field Day is January 30th, Saturday and Sunday. It runs 24 hours, starts at 1900 hours UTC or 11 o'clock our time. And you can start setting up at 1900 on Friday. And the rules say you're only allowed 12 hours to set up, but you should have plenty of time to do that. So what's different from last year to this year? We're not going to have a Winter Field Day gathering. Sorry, guys. In the past, we've gotten together and had lots of good food. We had some good times showing people how to use radios, and we've had a great time with it. So that's not going to happen this year. But Winter Field Day has said, hey, the Summer Field Day was rather successful. Let's do the same here. We're going to have an aggregated club score. And if you are interested in participating, which means anybody can participate, just put in Sierra Foothills Amateur Radio Club in the club group slot when you submit your logs, and the club will get credit. So somebody in the board meeting said, hey, well, how do we do in the Summer Field Day? Well, with all the logs submitted throughout the entire United States, our score for Summer Field Day, the club aggregated score, was 11,655 points, and we had 26 logs submitted. So that score, 11,600, ranked us at 103 in the nation, and only 7 other clubs submitted more scores than us. And there was a 6-way tie for ranking 8th. So we did very, very well. I think we can do it again for Winter Field Day, and I think we all had a great time with that. If you want to learn more about Winter Field Day, check out the rules. They are on www.winterfieldday.com, and they have a PDF there with all the rules. And I'm going to cover the basics of the rules. So bands, which bands can you operate for Winter Field Day? You can operate any amateur band except the WARC bands and 60 meters. So 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, 10, 900 megahertz, 1.2 gigahertz, 3 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, whatever you want to work, you can work it with here at Winter Field Day. The rules do have some suggested frequencies. So if you get to one of those weird ones, let's say 900 megahertz, they'll suggest a frequency that you might want to try first, and everybody tends to congregate there. When you get into 80, 40, 20 meters, everybody's everywhere because there's so many. What modes are available? CW, well, CW is CW, it's Morse code. Phone is a mode. Anytime you use your voice, that's considered phone. So it could be single sideband, AM, FM, C4, FM. Any one of those modes would work for you as a phone mode. And then digital is anything that sends a text or a picture. Note, FT8, FT4, they're not allowed. JT65, JT9, those are not allowed because they don't send a complete message. So the example they use is AI6. Well, actually, I kind of tweaked it, but it's like the typical exchange for FT8 is AI6US, AI6JB, SOS is all you can really get into the message. Their argument is that doesn't say the HMS Titanic is sinking at a certain location. So that's why they've excluded FT8, FT4, and those other WSJT modes that can't give a full signal. However, JS8 call is considered acceptable because it's a free form. You can type in. So get out there and you can use any mode you like for this contest. Now in the contest, we have categories and class. There are 3 categories: indoors, outdoors, and home. So what's the distinction between the 3? Indoors is any weather protected structure that's insulated. Your equipment is not permanently set up. It's something that you go up and you set up for this event specifically. So an example might be, maybe you have a cabin up in the foothills and you set up your antennas in your Radio Shack and you work out of your cabin. That is considered an indoor category. Other operations, emergency operations centers, senior centers, your cozy RV, those are examples of working indoors. Outdoors is also a portable operation where you set up your own equipment, but there's no insulation. You're probably working from a pavilion, a pop-up campground, an igloo, whatever the case may be. It's outdoors and you don't got any heat, or you could have heat, but you don't have any insulation. You can claim outdoors at your home if you're at least 30 feet from your house and you set up your antennas and your equipment separately from your normal home station. And home, well, that's your normal station or where you permanently have your equipment set up. That is considered a home operation. So you have indoors, outdoors, and home, and it all depends on the level of discomfort you're going to experience on this event. Class. Class is the number of stations you're running, and that is simultaneous transmissions. You can have 2 radios, but if you're only using one at a time, it's still a one station operation. Are there any questions on this? Okay, what is the exchange? This is sort of like a contest. I mean, it's an operating event, but it is also a contest. And with every contest, there is an exchange. And the exchange in this one is your call sign, your class and category, and then the ARRL section abbreviation. This PDF has a hot link right here. You can click on it, and it will give you a list of all the ARRL sections and their abbreviations. So let's look at a couple examples. I'm operating from Chalk Bluff with 18 inches of snow off Highway 20 under a pop-up, and I'm using only one radio. So my exchange would be AI6JB 1 Oscar Sierra Victor, or Alpha India 6 Juliet Bravo 1 Oscar Sierra Victor. So the 1 is I'm running one station, I'm outdoors, and I'm in the Sacramento Valley section. So Brian and Lynn, Brian AI6US and Lynn KN6KRD, they parked their RV at Canada Hill. Lynn applies spousal pressure and they use her call sign. So their exchange would be KN6KRD 1I Sierra Victor, or Sacramento Valley. So that's Kilo November 6, Kilo Romeo Delta 1 India Sierra Victor. And they are a 1I because they're in the RV because it's insulated, but they've set up portable antennas and radios. Let's say you are a guest operator at ARRL headquarters and they have 2, that's supposed to be the number 2, not the, sorry about that, 2 stations running. Their exchange would be 1 W1AW 2HCT. So that's Whiskey 1 Alpha Whiskey 2 Hotel Charlie Tango. They're running 2 stations. They're in a home environment because they have permanent antennas and they have nice and warm and cozy. And they're in the Connecticut ARRL section. Any questions on the exchange? Okay, now there are 2 types of points that you can earn here. You've got QSO points and you've got bonus points. QSO is making a contact, and you get 1 point for every phone contact, and you'll get 2 points for every CW and digital contact you make. So making lots of contacts is a big deal. But there are also some bonus points, and there's only 4 options available. Unlike the ARRL Field Day, there's like 20 or 30, but here there's only 4 options. There's no commercial power. So that means if you're running off a generator, solar power, wind, water, batteries, you can claim 1,500 bonus points for no commercial power. Commercial power is plugging it into the wall and using PG&E or SMUD or Roseville Electric. If you're operating outside, you get 1,500 points. If you're not at home, you get 1,500 points. Or if you make a satellite QSO, you get 1,500 points. Note, there's only one contact allowed. So focus on the bonus points. Those are good things to have. There are two kinds of multipliers here in the Winter Field Day. There's a power output multiplier, and there's a band mode or a mode band multiplier. So if you're running more than 100 watts, your multiplier is 1. If you're running under 100 watts or less, your multiplier is 2. And if you're running QRP, your multiplier is 4. So for CW, that's 5 watts or less. Phone and digital, that's 10 watts or less. So if you want a challenge, operate QRP. You'll get 4 times the points. The other multiplier is band and mode. You get 1 multiplier for every band and mode combination. So for example, if you make a phone contact on 40 meters, that's 1 multiplier. You make another contact, CW contact on 40 meters. Notice the same band, but just a different mode. You get another multiplier. So you're up to 2. And if you do a digital contact on 40 meters, you have another multiplier. That means you get 3 multipliers for 3 different QSOs because you're using different mode and band combinations. So how is your score computed? Your score is computed by taking your QSO points, multiplying it by your power output multiplier, and then multiplying it by your band mode multipliers, and then adding on your bonus points. So for example, you operated barefoot outside using non-commercial power. You made 20 CW contacts, 30 phone contacts, and 50 digital contacts. You made those contacts with the following band combinations. You made a contacts on 40 meter CW, 40 meter phone, 40 meter digital, 80 meter phone, and 2 meter phone. So looking at your points, you made 20 at CW, which is 2 times 2, plus 30 at 1 times, plus 50 at 2 times. That gives you 170 QSO points. Now you look at your power multiplier. I said we were running barefoot. That means you're running 100 watts or less. So you get 2-time multiplier for your power. And we had 5 different band mode multipliers. So here 40 CW is 1, 40 phone is 2, 40 digital is 3, 80 meter phone is 4, and then 2 meter phone is 5. So that's 5 different band mode combinations. And we were running no commercial power, outdoors, and not at home. So we get 4,500 points for your bonus points. So your score then is 170 times 2, which is your power multiplier, times 5, which are your band mode combinations, plus 4,500 points gives you 6,200 points for your score. That's how you calculate your score for Winter Field Day. So you have to submit a log. The deadline for submitting a log is 000 UTC, Monday, March 1st. You can submit your log either via email, and you send the Cabrillo file to this address, wfda@winterfieldday.com. They are still taking paper logs. So if you want to do it on paper, you can mail it to them. And here's the address for the guy that is going to take the paper logs. Be sure to use the right format. In the rules, they actually have a link to a PDF form. So you might want to check that and make sure you're at least using the right form. If you want to use a computer logger, there's a couple free ones that I'm aware of. N1MM. That's probably the premier or the main contesting software that the serious contesters use. A good piece of software, a bit complicated to learn, but it works and it's free. The Winter Field Day site talks about TR4W. I have no experience with it. It's an open source logger for Windows, so that's available to you. If you want to pay some money, N3FJP, which the club uses, that's my favorite. There's also Ham Radio Deluxe out there as well. There's a lot of other loggers, but those all will work for Winter Field Day. So it's been asked, what are some of the best strategies for working field day? Well, Brian and I figured it out last year. how to do this, but the goal here is work as many bands and as many modes as possible, and as many band mode combinations as possible. As Dustin, W6YUE, will remember from last year, he was one of the top scorers or aggregate points that we had last year, and he only made 2 contacts, but both of them were multipliers. So he earned us quite a few points by getting those multipliers. So work at least, if you can, work a CW, phone, and a digital contact on every one of these bands, and there are a lot of them out there. Remember, you only have to make 1 contact per band mode multiplier to get a multiplier. So go hunt around, make 1 contact, and move on. And then go to the big bands, 40, 80, 20 meters, and rack up the QSO points. Another thing is turn your handy-talkie on and go to the national calling frequencies, or tune your radio to the national calling frequencies and just throw your call sign out there. Somebody's listening, and you can pick up a quick 2-meter or 440 FM phone contact or multiplier by just simply turning on your radio. If you are into it, get that satellite contact. Those are big points there. Bruce is the first one to make a Winter Field Day satellite contact that I'm aware of for us. So good, congratulations, Bruce, last year. He worked at it and he got it though. Another trick is arrange contacts. It's perfectly legal to make a contact with somebody on 40 meters and say, hey, can you go up to 20 meters and we'll make a contact and pick a frequency? Or if you're on 2 meters, say, hey, can you go up to 440 and can we make a contact? That's perfectly legit as long as it's done in the mode of the contest and you're using legitimate equipment. And most important strategy is have some fun out there. So in summary, we're not meeting this year, but you can operate from home, and we're going to aggregate the scores. Look for the rules at winterfieldday.com. More importantly, get on the air and make as many contacts as you can on as many bands and modes. And remember, when you submit your log, be sure to list Sierra Foothills ARC in the group and club column. And be sure to submit before 00 UTC on March 1st and have a lot of fun. Are there any questions?
This is Jim. I've got a quick question.
Go ahead, Jim.
N3FJP, does he have a special software for Winter Field Day or just use the normal one?
Nope, he has one specific for Winter Field Day.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Orion,
if you're doing a paper log, Winter Field Day just posted up a special paper log if you're going to submit that way as well.
They have a form, right? Is that what you said, Brian?
Correct.
Yep. And Greg, you had a question?
Yeah, power. If you're running on batteries, it means everything on batteries or just a transmitter?
Don't quote me on this, but I believe it's strictly the transmitter. But if you're using digital, then the computer has to be on power as well because it's actually the radio.
Okay.
So what do I do if I want to do this?
Why don't we get offline and I will walk you through it, Charles. I'd be happy to though.
Sounds good. I think I need like to do more things. So you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, taking Bob's advice, getting involved, that is the best way to do it. And yeah, give me a jingle. We'll get together and I'll be happy to get you all set up.
Also, I'm going to shout out Brian. Brian, you're going to have to do this with me. Okay, bye.
Hey, lays down the gauntlet. Man after my heart. Any other questions? If anybody has any other questions offline, feel free to drop me a chat, give me an email. Brian also is very well versed in Winter Field Day, so I'm sure he would be happy to help you. Thank you, everybody. Back to you, Greg.